All right. So thanks for coming in today and meeting. I know that you just transitioned here to CSU and this is your first year. So tell me a little bit about the transition.
So I would say that college life is completely different than high school life, of course. No mommy and daddy to take care of you. So definitely figuring out how to deal with being on your own and dealing with classes on top of friends, on top of boyfriends, on top of still trying to have your writing skills and keep progressing in writing, and on top of work. It's just all can get stressful at times by far.
Yeah, there are a lot of things going on right now in your life.
Yeah, and they're completely different than how they were in high school.
Yeah. Tell me about what you find most different from high school.
Definitely the classes are different. Like I went to college preparatory school,
Mm-hmm.
so supposedly we were supposed to be prepared for what college would be, but I went to such a small school that they were so supportive. Like if you did bad on a test, they would come find you and say, "This is what you can do. Let's make this test score come up. Here's extra credit." Like they were all about us getting A's and achieving and learning. And it seems like here at college, unless you do everything you possibly can with helping and going into your professors and making sure you go to class every day and all that, it doesn't, like, things don't come to you, I guess, as much as they did in high school. You gotta work for them more. But it's kind of like a culture shock coming from the school that I was at. And yeah.
So I hear you saying that there's a big culture, you use the word culture
Yeah.
shock, but a big culture shift from academics in high school to now academics in college.
Yeah.
Expand on your classes a little bit more for me and how that relates.
So, like, my Life 102 class is completely different because my lab is with a bunch of upperclassmen who are just all about getting it done and getting out of there because they know what they're doing. They're just having to take this because it's required. And then just being in a lecture hall of like 150 kids and just being another number, and I guess going into professors can be kind of intimidating at times, especially when they don't really know who you are or what your grades are, or can personally say what you're struggling with. So I guess that's another huge thing, and just the exams are huge because we never had like 4 exams, and that was your grade for the semester. Like there was always extra cushion to make sure you got the grade you wanted.
I hear you saying that you feel a little stressed because of maybe more than a little stress,
Yeah.
just because of all the academic demands, but also because you're maybe not seen as an individual like you were in your high school academics. Is that accurate?
Oh yeah, that's
Okay.
definitely accurate.
Okay. Tell me about the resources that you used to and seeked out.
So I've gone in and talked to my professor once, and I've gone into the office hours of my lab PA and been able to talk to him. And I've gone into Tilt, and it seems like Tilt's been the most helpful because they like sit down and they have ample amount of time to help you, and they really want to know what you're struggling with. And when I went into like my lab TA, and my professor is more like, well, read your book more, or we'll study an extra hour, or try to apply it instead of just learning terminology. They didn't really show you how to do it, they just told you what to do. But like at Tilt, luckily they were like, hey, this is what you should do, this is the best way to do it in our situation. So Tilt's been really helpful, and of course my brother, since he's a chemistry minor, being able to go to him when it's like the night before the test and I just can't get a concept down.
So you feel support from the more individualized
Yeah.
attention from Tilt and from the help that your brother is able to give you.
Definitely, because it's just like high school, kind of.
Good. Tell me about your relationships. For me, that was a big change. Adjusting to college was the social life.
I think finding your people is the hardest thing because in high school there's your class and you have those people to choose from of who you hang out with. But here it's unlimited, like the amount of students that go here. They're always meeting new people, and I like that. But I think finding who you get along with the most is hardest. And like I'm so thankful to have Francesca since she's been my best friend for so long. To have her there, but then I feel like I shouldn't be relying on her. I should be trying to go out and meet new people. Because even though I have her and we'll always be friends, it's not like the point of college isn't to hang out with your high school friends every single day like you're in high school. So I guess just getting out and meeting more people and learning who is good influences on you and who's bad influences on you. So like the hallmates that I have come in contact to a little bit at the beginning of the year were bad influences, but at the same time, even though some of the stuff that they were doing was bad, I still enjoyed hanging out with them. So I was just trying to figure that out.
Tell me a little bit more about why you enjoyed hanging out with them, even though, like you said, the influences were bad.
I think because they were more fun and laid back, and they weren't so uptight. Like the equine science people I hang out with and Francesca, they're more uptight about things, and they were just kind of carefree, just doing what they wanted to do at that moment, which was kind of a nice change because with family and how I am, I can tend to be uptight about things, and so it was just nice kind of not worrying about stuff.
Yeah, you felt maybe a little bit more connected to them based on your personality, and that was a place for you to let loose.
Yeah, exactly. A little too much, but
go into that a little bit more.
Oh, just allowing things to happen that I shouldn't have allowed to happen, that I knew could get me in trouble, and that I guess letting them use me a little bit just because they were all out of staters. And some of them had cars, and some of them had families, so when they had problems or they needed this or they needed to go here and stuff, they would rely on me to do it or to help them with it, which I was fine with until it became repetitive and like constant. So that was hard. And just some of the situations that should have ended poorly, but had some guardian angel looking after us that night. And yeah.
So you feel confused just because you feel like you were taken advantage of, and that conflicts with your value of what a friendship should be.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And another thing I noticed that I'd like to bring up is that you mentioned that you had guardian angels watching over you. So that means that it was a stressful and scary situation, but you're laughing about it.
Yeah.
So explain to me, where those reactions come from.
I think laughing about it because it's kind of like a sigh of relief that we survived and that we didn't get in trouble and that everyone's in one piece after some of the stuff we did. I think that's where some of it comes from. And some of it was fun, even though some of it wasn't completely legal or it wasn't the right thing to do at that time. It was still fun and like a crazy adventure. It's something that you're going to remember by far. Mm-hmm. So I guess it was fun making memories, even if some of them weren't the best memories.
Mm-hmm. So how have you resolved all of this? What's been the conclusion?
I guess just as keeping my distance. Like I miss hanging out with them sometimes, but then I hear stories and I hear stuff going around the halls about, oh, this person did this, and like I'm glad that I'm not associated with that because it is an all girls floor, so things spread like no other. So I guess I'm happy about that, but I do miss just kind of that let loose fun that happened every night.
Mm-hmm. So to summarize, before we move on, to make sure I have understood this right, is that looking back on it, there are times that you wish that you could participate in some of the activities with them and still be friends with them, but overall, you're glad in the situation that you're no longer best friends with them maybe, and have realized that the consequences of your activities with those people maybe didn't align with your values coming into college of education and success.
Exactly.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And how about, I know you're in a relationship right now, tell me a little bit about how that's working out in college.
It's so stressful. I think it would be easier if my boyfriend was going to college, because I think he would understand a lot more, because he's straight from the military and then he works on the oil rig, so some of the responsibility that comes with school, like not being able to drop school and miss school for him, even though he has a day off for the first time in 3 weeks, that kind of stuff stresses me out because he doesn't understand. And just the distance and him being older can be a little stressful, just with him. The 4-year difference, his family kind of looks down on that. So that can be stressful, and then just he has a bad past with girls, and so with me being in college, he just gets weirded out when I like go out and do things and I tell him about it, because he'll ask what I'm doing and I don't want to be like, oh, I'm just sitting in my room watching Netflix, like to make him feel good. Like I don't want to lie to him about what I'm doing, and I'm never like doing anything bad. I'm not cheating on him or stuff, but if I'm at like an after football party, I'm gonna tell him. But then he just gets like all worried that I'm gonna be a girl from his past that does something.
So you maybe feel, and I guess you think that you two don't share a common ground,
Yeah.
and therefore you feel, I guess I'm hearing it as a little confused as how to approach your relationship and to what level of honesty you should have with your partner.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Exactly. So I feel like it's almost kind of jealousy part, worrisome on his part because he works 14-hour days and he's 22, so he's still young to go do things, but he goes to work and he goes home and sleeps, and then when we can see each other, we see each other, and I'm able to be out there like going to work and hanging out with this person and going to football games, and so I think he looks at it as like I should have no stress because I'm just like this college girl going to class, hanging out, going to parties. Like, I don't think he understands like student loans and horses and work and studying and stuff. I don't think he understands that.
So you don't feel fully appreciated in your relationship, and
Yeah.
based on how much effort you're putting into school and everything else you have going on right now, and it doesn't always align with what he communicates to you.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Do you, I guess, what are your goals for that relationship?
I don't know. I mean, I enjoy hanging out with him and we click and we get along really well, and besides the whole not understanding college thing, like, he understands me and we can be weird together, but we can be serious together when we need to be, and we have a lot of fun. Like, he's a guy that wants to go out and do things and not just lay around in bed all day, and he gets my horse obsession and loves horses almost as much as I do, and like, he's everything I was looking for in someone. I just, sometimes the different stages at where we are, like, he wants to talk about marriage already, and I'm like 18, and like, I got 5 years before I even want to think about that. So I guess I just want to, like, I enjoy him and I do love him, so I want to be with him. It's just different being 4 years apart, he and him.
So you two click on a lot of levels,
Yeah.
but also have some misunderstandings that aren't intentional, but just because of where you two are coming from in your past.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
So going back to the big picture now, what were your expectations for college, and share a little bit about how that is measured up for you and what you see in the future.
Yeah, well, I was definitely expecting the crazy nights that I had the first month. So that's how it was all the time. And then I realized that you can't do school and be crazy partier at the same time. So I guess my expectation changed once I got settled in and I started going to class and actually studying. I realized that it was a lot more work than just going to class and studying for your exam. I realized that, it's so many more hours outside of the classroom than I ever thought it would be. And from here, I'm really excited to get deep into the equine science program and start my psychology minor and figure out where I want to go to grad school and start being able to work with like the bigger known professors and Temple Grandin and everything like that, and get more involved in the university by far.
Sounds like you have some big goals and motivated goals too, which is important for success in college for students.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that all sounds really good. I'd like to go ahead and summarize to make sure that I've heard you correctly, and then we can kind of make a plan.
Yeah.
So academics are definitely different from high school for you, but
Yeah.
you're seeking out those resources to make a change and make that a little bit easier. Social life, you've had a little bit of trouble deciding where your values lie and maybe comparing your expectations for what you thought social life would be coming into college and then realizing the true outcomes. Your relationship has a lot of different levels to it.
Yeah.
So that's something right now that, again, you two click on a lot of things, and that's something you can kind of just see where it goes.
Yeah.
So resources, you mentioned the Tilt Center, and I think that's a great place to go. I think maybe a goal would be to get involved with a club or organization. You mentioned that you're really passionate about equine science. So if we could find an equine science club for you, they could probably provide academic resources as well as more of a community for you to build in that focus of academics. So does that sound like a good plan?
Definitely.
Awesome. Great. Thanks.
Thanks.